Well, what do we have here? In here, we have the Google Pixel 7a. Yes, this is the Google Pixel 7a, and no, it was not sent to us by Google for review purposes. We are not breaking any NDAs. We bought this phone. Google is so good about keeping their phone a secret that it is available in the market for resale. Now, in this video, we're going to do our first impressions of the Google Pixel 7a, and of course the video is divided into chapters. Links are in the description of the video. So without any further delay, let us start off with the first impressions and the hands-on experience of the Google Pixel 7a. Let us start off with the hardware. So yes, you do have a 1080p display from Samsung. The under display fingerprint scanner is from Godex, and your RAM is 8 GB. Yes, 8 GB of RAM on the Google Pixel 7a, and this is LPDDR5 from Samsung. The processor everybody knows is Tensor G2, and your GPU is the Mali G710. 1080p resolution on the screen, 90 Hz is confirmed as well. And with respect to your battery, well, you do have a 4300 mAh battery. At least that is what this app device info hardware is telling me. With respect to the weight is at 193 grams or 6.8 ounces. And of course, you do have a dual camera setup on the back, a normal camera and a wide angle, along with a flash and a single camera setup on the front. More about that in the camera section. Next up, let us talk about the design. So the phone here is not cold to the hold, which leads me to believe that the back here is definitely plastic like it was on the Google Pixel 6a over here, and the frame also might be plastic. There are rumors on the internet that the frame is aluminium, but to me it feels plastic. The camera bump again is not as much as you have on the Google Pixel 7. The camera bump is in line with what you have on the Google Pixel 6a over here, and of course the design has changed on the back, and it is very similar to the camera module style what you have on the Google Pixel 7 on the right over here. This is the Google Pixel 7 in black, and this is the Google Pixel 7a. Of course, you do have some fingerprints which are visible at the right angle. Then on the bottom you have your Type-C port and you have your speakers. Yes, the phone does have stereo speakers. We will have a music sample in the sound section. Then on the other side you have your volume rockers and your power button, and the buttons here are super clicky. No issues in that regard at all. As you can see, tactile and super clicky, along with some antenna band lines. Now a change which I noticed coming from the Google Pixel 6a is that near your camera bar you have two antenna bands instead of one on the Google Pixel 6a. Then on the top also you have the antenna bands which are closer as compared to that on the Google Pixel 6a, and you also have your noise cancelling mic. On this side again, some antenna bands and your SIM slot. Yes, they are keeping the SIM slot on the Google Pixel 7a. We don't know for how long. Then moving over to the front, you do have a flat 6.1-inch display, but the bezels here I think are more when you compare them to the Google Pixel 6a over here, and the reason for that might be that the design here has changed a little. So on the Google Pixel 6a you will notice that the display sits above the edge of the frame, whereas on the Google Pixel 7a, just like on the Google Pixel 7, the display sits flush with your frame. So I think that is why the bezels here are a bit more, even though both the Google Pixel 6a and the Google Pixel 7a have the same 6.1-inch display. Next up, let us talk about the one-handed use and the feel in hand of the Google Pixel 7a. Now the Google Pixel 6a over here was a perfect phone when it came for one-handed use. It was pretty awesome. The only issue I had with the one-handed use of Google Pixel 6a was that maybe the volume rockers could be a bit down, and they have fixed that with the Google Pixel 7a. The volume rockers have been moved down a little and they are now in the perfect place, and so is the power button. But the thing which they have changed is that the Google Pixel 7a is a bit wider and taller as compared to the Google Pixel 6a. How do I know this? Well, so here it is. This is a case for the Google Pixel 6a, and the Google Pixel 7a will fit in this case, but it is a very tight fit. So there it is. You can see we fit it, but it is very tight fit. But if I have a Google Pixel 7 case, that fits perfectly on the Google Pixel 7a. Now do note that everything lines up except for, I think, the noise cancelling mic on the top. Your USB ports line up, the volume rockers, the power button, all of those things line up pretty good, but the case is a bit on the loose side. So yes, the Google Pixel 7a is definitely a bit wider and a bit taller than the Google Pixel 6a, but it is smaller than the Google Pixel 7. So it is somewhere in between those two devices. The in-hand feel, of course, is pretty good. The weight distribution here is pretty good as well. And talking about the ergonomics, another thing I like about the Pixels is the placement of the in-display fingerprint scanner. On the Samsung Galaxy A54, I had to go down all the way over here. The fingerprint sensor placement on the Google Pixel 7a is perfect, and it is in line with the other Pixels out there. And of course, they did move the volume rockers and the power button a bit down so that it is even more ergonomic. Moving over to the display, yes, this is a flat display, which means it should be easy to find a tempered glass screen protector, and I think the Google Pixel 6a screen protector should be fine. You might be running close, but it should be fine. Then if I go into the display settings, the option for 90 Hertz is there, and you can see it on the top left as well. So it is switching between 60 and 90. Definitely not an LTPO panel, something which is not expected at this price range. Then if I go into device info hardware, you will notice that this is a panel from Samsung. So yes, Samsung AMOLED panel over here. The colors here are great. And another thing I would like to mention is that in sunlight, it might not be the brightest of displays, but I think neither the Pixel 7 nor the Google Pixel 6a do great in direct sunlight. In fact, after using the Samsung Galaxy S23, or for that matter, even the Samsung Galaxy A54, in terms of direct sunlight brightness, the Samsungs are way ahead of the Google Pixels. And the bezels here, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, are definitely more than what you have on the Google Pixel 6a, and that can be attributed to the fact that the display here sits flush with the frame, whereas on the Google Pixel 6a the display sits on top of the frame. So here it is, you can see that the display is sitting on top of the frame. And because of that, if you had the complaint with the Google Pixel 7 that the edges are sharp, you will have the same complaint with the Google Pixel 7a as well. Next up, let us talk about sound and vibration. So the speakers here are good enough. However, at maximum volume, they do tend to lose the detail in the music being played. And I do recommend that you run them at around 70 or 80% volume. That is a pretty sweet spot for the speakers on the Google Pixel 7a, which definitely are stereo speakers. Then moving over to the haptics. The vibration motor, I think, is the same as what you have on the Google Pixel 6a. So definitely not flagship level as what you have on the Google Pixel 7. Moving over to the battery and charging on the Google Pixel 7a. Now, as per device info hardware application, the battery here is 4300 milliamp hours, which could be a step down from the Google Pixel 6a, which has a 4410 milliamp hour battery. Now, with respect to charging, the charging is somewhere around 18 to 20 watts with wired charging, and yes, wireless charging is available, but I think it's going to be 5 watts wireless charging. And of course, you should not expect reverse wireless charging when your phone charges at 5 watts wirelessly. And before you ask me, hey Manji, what about the battery backup? Well, I just got the device like less than 24 hours ago, and as I will tell you in the software section, we are not running the latest Android build. So for battery backup, I will have to wait for the latest OTA to arrive on the Google Pixel 7a and then use it for a week to give you the exact battery backup and the screen on time statistics. Moving over to the biometrics, so the fingerprint scanner on the Google Pixel 7a, I think, is the same as what we have on the Google Pixel 7. It is an on-display fingerprint scanner, not crazy fast like the ultrasonics which are present on the Samsung Galaxy S23 series, so definitely an optical under display fingerprint scanner. However, it is super accurate, and I haven't had the issue of wherein an unrecognized fingerprint would unlock the device, the issue which was present initially on the Google Pixel 6a. And before you ask me, hey Manchi, what about face unlock? Is face unlock present? Yes, face unlock is present on the Google Pixel 7a, and it works absolutely fine. Of course, do note that this is using the front camera. They do not have any special infrared sensors for face unlock, so I'm pretty sure in the night it is not going to be as reliable, but in the day it works absolutely fine. Moving over to the software, and why am I talking about the software? Well, because something super important to note is that right now the Google Pixel 7a which I have is running the March security patch, and the Google Play System update is from October of 2022. So March 2023 security patch, and if I go into the system update section, I do not have any updates available. So I'm pretty sure on release day, that is May 10th, Google is going to release a software update for the Google Pixel 7a. And where is that leading us? That is leading us to the software features. The software, of course, here is pretty smooth, no jitters and lags in the UI, which is something which you do expect from pixels. Now, if I go into settings and I go into sound and vibration, I do not see the option of spatial audio, something which is present on the Google Pixel 7. So I'm not sure whether they're going to add it down the line or they're going to add it on release day, but I do see the option of clear calling. So we'll talk more about the software when we get the latest Android version and the phone is available officially. Next up, let us talk about the camera. So for starters, let us check out the version which is installed on the Google Pixel 7a. So here it is, the version is 8.8.225, and this is the camera UI. Now do note that some of the features might be locked behind a software lock because the Google Pixel 7a is yet to be officially released. But you do have long exposure. So what is missing from long exposure, which the Pixel 7 has, is action mode, and I also do not see cinematic mode with respect to your video recording. So here it is, from the rear camera you can record 4K 60 and 4K 30, and of course a lot of you are going to ask me, hey Manji, what about the front camera? And here it is, as you can see on your screen right now. So if I select FHD, I can select auto 30 or 60 FPS. Luckily, the front camera does have 4K recording this time around, but I cannot choose the resolution. So I think it is safe to assume that we are recording in 4K 30 FPS from the front camera on the Google Pixel 7a. Another thing I would like to mention is that here it is. So let us take a picture. Do note right now we are in 1x. Now let us zoom to 0.5x, and let me put in my hand over here so that we know we took a picture in 0.5x. Now if I go to the photos application, this is the picture which we took, right? So this is 16.1 megapixel. This was with the normal camera, but the one with the wide angle is also 16.1 megapixel, and as per leaks the wide angle is supposed to be, I think, 13 megapixel. So that is something which I still have to figure out, or we might have to wait till release date to know the actual resolution of the back camera sensors on the Google Pixel 7a. Because if I go in device info hardware and then if I go into the camera section, it tells me that it is a triple camera setup on the back, which is definitely wrong. That being said, here are a few picture samples from the Google Pixel 7a. this peeps, that was our Pixel 7a hands-on and initial impressions, and of course this blue color here does look pretty great. If you do have any questions about the Google Pixel 7a, do leave them in the comments on this video and I will try to answer them as soon as possible. And that will do it for this one. See you in the next video for the Google Pixel 7a, which should be coming out pretty soon.